What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Trick. And now I'm about to read you a report from Eric Pincus from Bleacher Report. He mostly covered the Los Angeles Lakers, and this is a pretty interesting title. How LA mismanaged their way to champs to chumps. That's a very good title for this disaster. All right, it said Los Angeles Lakers guard Russell Westbrook may be the face of one of the most disappointing seasons in franchise history, but he's really a symptom of a larger issue. If Westbrook was the knockout punch, the front office self-inflicted body blows have dismantled a championship roster. In the NBA, resources are limited even for the wealthiest of franchises, and front offices must be thoughtful and diligent every year. The 1920 title was a tremendous accomplishment, but a huge but. The Lakers shouldn't give a pass for several obvious, costly mistakes that left the team paralyzed at the trade deadline and were even in the face of clear need of improvement. Which I agree with the first half. Like that's ridiculous. Now, Vicky Reed. Now the best case scenario is surviving the two play-in games for the first round matchup against the Phoenix Suns. If the Lakers had nearly spotless bill of health this year, maybe the raw talent of their top heavy roster would have been enough. But how many teams, let alone one of the oldest in the league, get through a season without injuries? A semi-miraculous postseason run remains a possibility, but the most likely outcome appears to be a long summer. If the latter comes to pass, how did the Lakers go from championship just 2 seasons ago to falling apart so quickly or so entirely in 21-22? And obviously, Westbrook was a mistake. Everybody agrees with that except for Russ stands, but I digress. With $76.5 million already invested in LeBron and Anthony Davis, the Lakers gave up Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Montrezl Harrell, and a first-round pick to acquire one of the most expensive players in the NBA. All the time of the deal, many competing executives were perplexed. If the Lakers' high-end talent didn't overwhelm the league, the team had given up significant depth and flexibility for a risky maybe. Westbrook was never an obvious fit despite his impressive career credentials. Adding a high usage point guard who doesn't spread the floor for James hasn't worked out. Going away what worked. Like, I'm trying to see why did they go away from what worked? We went from having JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, Markieff Morris. Then the following season we had Montrezl who wanted more playing time. Should have traded him at the deadline. We had Andre Drummond and Gasol. If I'm being honest, we should freaking we should trade Trez, send him to Charlotte. We should got Monk. We should got a return for Trez. It's just this bottom line because Drummond Gasol front court. Drummond started Gasol come off the bench. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. We probably would have did better if that was the case. Well, now if I read this part. The Lakers' wide misstep is more abstract. Through the 1920 season, they established a championship identity based on impenetrable size and rim protection. And winning the title, the Los Angeles Lakers had just one regular rotation player under 6'5", Rajon Rondo. The Lakers were long, tall, and a top 3 defensive powerhouse. At its best, the team struggled to score efficiently, finishing only 11 in overall offensive rating. They were nobly below average in three-point range, 21st. That's who the Lakers were, but it worked. The rush back from the bubble played the part why the team didn't repeat. The Lakers retired the Miami Heat. The Lakers' opponent in the finals went through similar travails. The roster change from 1920 to 2021 didn't significantly derail the team last year. Fatigue and Davis' groin injury in the first round against the Suns were the bigger culprits. The Lakers, including James, who lobbied for the team to trade for Westbrook, overreacted to their underwhelming season. Facts. Why? Like the Buddy Hield deal was right on the table. I don't know. That's oh man. The franchise should have placed a greater value on continuity instead. A defensive-minded coach, Frank Vogel, was given a roster that didn't fit his style. The Lakers handed him an older, slower roster with shooters who struggled to defend and defenders who struggled to shoot, and a lead guard who neither defends nor shoots. A front office should give a coach players who fit their system or replace the coach if the team's vision no longer aligns with their skill set. Facts. Like, why did we give this man a 1 year deal and we know that their freaking vision was going more offensive oriented? I ain't get that. Like, if you actually value Frank, you would have gave him better pieces. But oh well. Asking Vogel to adapt was unrealistic. His strengths and weaknesses are the mystery. Facts. Add a top-heavy roster and no plan B for injuries, we get to 21-22, a poor defensive 20th and offensive 23rd team that can't shoot 16 and true shooting. THT contract mishandled from start. Now this is something I didn't think about of why the Lakers plateau so much. But this is going to be some interesting here. I think the Lakers saw enough in Taylor Horton to buy the 46th pick in the 2019 draft from the Orlando Magic for $2.2 million and a future second-round selection. Yet it's perplexing that LA didn't sign Horton to at least a 3-year deal as a rookie. That's interesting. The first 20 second-round picks that were drafted in the 2019 draft, Horton was the only one to sign a 2-year deal. Most, 14, agreed to 3 or 4 year seasons. 3 inked two-way contracts and a pair didn't immediately join the league. The Lakers were under the cap in 2019. they were under the cap in 2019 and then signed this man to... Alright, bro, needed to set aside under $1 million cap space to ink Horton to a 3 or 4 year contract. That could have came by saving a combined total of $898,310 from the free agent signs of Dan Green, JaVale McGee, Quinn Cook, and DeMarcus Cousins. While that oversight may not have seemed significant at the time, it had lasting repercussions. Horton has since re-signed to a 3-year, $30.8 million contract starting at $9.5 million, while his contemporaries of the 2019 second round, including Terrence Mann and Daniel Gafford, are earning $1.8 million this season. Both Mann, who's the 48th pick, and Gafford, who's the 38th pick, have been rewarded with extensions, but their salary jumps don't kick into 23-24. Compounded matters, Horton deal includes a player option for 23-24. The Lakers passed on the opportunity to trade him with Caldwell Pope and Dan Schroeder before the 2020 deadline. For the Toronto Raptors, to the Toronto Raptors for Kyle Lowry. Now this is where I have to disagree. Like, THT. Nah, that's THT Caldwell Pope and Dan Schroeder. That's a little too much for Kyle Lowry, especially for what he just showed last season. He's an older guard. Now he's dealing with hamstring problems he had to recover with. I wouldn't have did that just because I wanted to see THT develop. But again, Russell Westbrook just handled that greatly. But yeah, the market wasn't as generous in February. He may be great in 4 or 5 years, but he's not right now. Western Conference executives say if we trade for him and he blows up, he'll just opt out and just hit free agency in 23 in the free agency of 2023. We have no control of this contract. Did THT cost Caruso? Most people would say yes, but that's not on THT. That's on the freaking Lakers. Like, if we budget the issue, Horton Tucker at 1.8 million would have solved it. The mistake in 2018 has had lasting repercussions. While Caruso wanted to return to the Lakers last offseason, the franchise wasn't willing to offer him a contract on par with 37 million over 4 seasons he got from Chicago Bulls. And the decision was primarily based on basketball evaluation of Caruso. It was the wrong choice. Instead, the Lakers gave $10 million to Kendrick Nunn over 2 seasons, including player option. He missed the season with a knee injury, but even if Nunn were healthy, that money would have been better spent on Caruso. Agreed. Championship teams tend to favor continuity, but that has clearly not been a priority for the Los Angeles Lakers. Caruso is the rare player who can help this team without scoring. While the Lakers struggle defensively, he has been sorely missed. If the logic for passing Lowry and Caruso was to preserve capital for 2023, after James' contract expires, does the team expect to move on? If not, cap space will never been plentiful enough to spend on points better than Lowry and Caruso. Alright, a masterclass in devaluing players and picks. The Lakers found Caruso in the G League, signed him to a two-way contract, and developed him into a championship role player. That's extremely difficult to do, and the franchise deserves all the credit for finding a gem. But LA let him go when he got too expensive, even though he's on a reasonable contract with Chicago. Getting the most out of your resources hasn't seemed to be a priority for the Lakers. Teams are going to keep very good players they find, but Los Angeles has a pattern of letting value go without recommits. 2018, Wade Thomas Brown, who became a productive starter after the Wizards claimed him off the waivers. If a young talented big who can shoot the ball doesn't fit your plan, why not trade him? Agreed. Revoke future All-Star Julius Randle qualifying offer to let him walk as an unrestricted free agent. Randle was the 7th pick in the 2014 draft. Probably could have kept for AD trade. Never know. I don't know. Yeah, at least get something. Trade C.V. Mikhailiuk in a second-round pick to Pistons for Reggie Bullock, who left as a free agent after the season. 2 smaller assets going to rent the services of a veteran shooter. LA didn't even make a playoff run. Facts. Now, this was egregious. Egregious. Trading Victor Zubac and Michael Beasley to the Clippers for Mike Muscala, who left as a free agent after the season. The Lakers wasted another quality number 32 pick in the 2016 draft, gave the Clippers a starter and haven't had anyone good as center. Wow, why did I fuck that up? Trade Danny Green a first round pick to get Dan Schroeder, who left as a free agent after the season. It was a significant step as LA broke apart its championship identity, or a championship defensive identity, and also threw away a first rounder. 2020 traded JaVale McGee and second rounder to the Cavs for Alfonso McKinney and Jordan Bell, who was waived immediately to make salary cap room for Marcus Gasol after the season. McKinney was waived, and Gasol was traded with a second round pick for $250K to the Grizzlies. McGee is playing a valuable supporting role for the first place Suns. Neither Gasol or McKinney is in the NBA. That journey cost 2 second-round picks. Trade Kyle Kuzma in 2020. They traded Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Harold in a first-round pick for Russell Westbrook, which has been covered ad nauseum. The devil's in all the details. The Lakers still owe 2 first-round picks plus a swap to the Pelicans. They can ill afford to be careless after having given so much to get Davis. Outside Westbrook, Horton Tucker, and Nunn, James and Davis' supporting cast has been manned by minimum players. Malik Monk has outperformed his deal and could be challenged to retain this offseason. The franchise had only one taxpayer meal offer exception, $5.9 million, before the season, and gambled most of it on none. Is history repeating itself? None signed for $5 million at the $10 million taxpayer meal level, leaving 890,000. Had LA paid none a slightly lower figure in the first year, just 35,000 less, it could have been used the remainder to sign undrafted rookie Austin Reeves to a 3-year contract starting at 925,000 instead of a 2-year minimum deal for the promising rookie. Like, oof, jeez, man. The Lakers need saving, but I tell you that much. A non-guaranteed extra player for Reeves may not seem important now. What? I said steam. I meant seem important now, but mistakes have a way of compounding as they have since Horton took Kaminsky. Westbrook will likely will be remembered as the move that sank the era of the franchise, and rightfully so. It's difficult to imagine him returning next season, but he'll be undoubtedly out there in the final season of his $47 million contract. If the answer is a trade or buyout, can the franchise be trusted to not deepen its self-inflicted wound? The Lakers haven't minded the margins well for several years, and their presumed downfall this season should have not been a surprise. Wow. As a Laker fan, I just get frustrated even more just reading this. And I was one of the ones that tried to give Rob Pelinka his flowers, especially after he got Anthony Davis, which is basically handed to him. So to knock that out the list. Now letting Julius Randle walk, I was questioning it a little bit, but not as much. Now, if I knew this man signed THT and now Austin Reeves to 2-year contracts, bro, I wouldn't have gave this man credit for Jack. He don't deserve that. Bro has mismanaged all these assets, and he's still employed. Well, I want to say that because we could have got at least the president or something. Like, bro, there's just no way. Why does he have full control of that? GM and president, like, no, we need, just like they did with Magic Johnson, even though he was pretty bad himself. But why we didn't replace that position with somebody else? Like, because this is unacceptable. The Lakers have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, arguably 2 top 10 players, top 15 and worse players on the roster, and now we have question marks. We shouldn't have question marks. We should be a contending team. We should have been contending all the years. And I mean contending, not even play in the championship game. At least a contending team. Bro, I'm disappointed to say the least. I hope it get better, but it won't get better if Russell Westbrook still on the team. If they trade him, I have some hope. But until then, I don't know. But it's your boy Trail here, and I'm out.